Your house is worth whatever it's worth, right? Whoever sells it. Wrong. I'm Charlie. Welcome to Moving Home with Charlie, and thank you for coming.
Charlie Landingrop in Sussex is the founder of Best Agent and presenter of Moving Home with Charlie.
If you want to find one of these guys, look out for those compassionate professionals. All estate agents are not the same.
So, Charlie, what would be your advice for people interested in buying new builds right now?
Don't overpay. Do buy, but don't overpay. That's why I say disregard the guff. Read into the numbers and look, and it's buried. The bad news is buried in the small print, okay?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Property Press Awards.
They may or may not be telling the truth, but you should form your own view. Get out and view, get out and view, get out and view. You cannot be in a position to make offers and have the offers accepted if you're not viewing. Just be out there viewing. Pay attention to the back of the class. If you've not been watching my videos, I did one just a couple of days ago. Disregard the guff, guys. Happy Friday, everybody. It's Friday the 30th of June, 2023. This is 5 Fact Friday, where I go through the 5 verifiable facts with links to the sources in the description or the comments below of the 5 things that I think are the most significant things affecting the housing market this week. You might disagree. You might think there are some other bigger facts, and by all means, let me know wherever you're watching this. If you're watching this on TikTok or Instagram, I can't put links underneath it, so you'll have to go to my website, mhwc.co.uk, and the 5 facts are in the blog on my website. I've been told that there might be an error in the title of this video, which I'll correct afterwards. It should say it's 5 Fact Friday, what's hitting housing hardest. So apologies if it's not saying that. Right, let's get into sharing the first story with you. So Zoopla released its house price index this week. And one of the things, and actually last night I had a long chat with Richard Donald from Zoopla, which I'll mention in a second because it's relevant. One of the things I've noticed about the Zoopla house price index is that it doesn't actually contain a price. But it's a movement tracker. So it talks about percentage increases and percentage decreases, but doesn't actually state a price. However, in the Zoopla house price index released this week, they are saying that they're expecting prices to fall 5% by the end of 2023 compared to where they were at the beginning of 2023. But last night on my video conversation with Richard O'Donnell on the live stream, I asked him where he sees prices bottoming out, and he said 10% nominal, 22% real house price falls. And if you haven't watched that video, that is linked to below as well, so you can go check out that video. Okay, but yeah, it's interesting. 42% of sellers are accepting discounts of more than 5%. And importantly, Richard says in that report, further downside risk if we see an acceleration in supply of homes for sale that boosts choice and further room for negotiation. Well, guess what's happening? That, and I'll come on to one of the later points, which shows that I think that is, if it's not already happening, it's going to be happening. Anyone serious about selling in 2023 needs to be realistic on pricing. And the graph there shows a 14% drop in demand, which is a downward pressure on prices, and an 11% increase in supply, which is also a downward effect on prices. So the supply and demand equation is moving in favor of falling prices. That's fact number 1. So straight on to fact number 2, which is the nationwide house price index. And it's very funny because there's month-on-month house price changes and there are year-on-year house price changes. And in August and September last year, when year-on-year house price changes in the nationwide and Halifax indices were still very, very high, 10, 9, 11, 12% year-on-year, but their monthlies were starting to show falls, everyone went, never mind the monthlies, it's the yearly, it's going up, yearly, year-on-year, it's up, that's all that matters. Guess what they're saying now? The yearly is showing a 3.5%, 3.4% fall year-on-year, all right? But the monthly is actually showing a teeny tiny rise of about 200 or 300 quid in the not seasonally adjusted average price. But the monthly change they're saying is down 1%, but that's seasonally adjusted. But the actual price is not seasonally adjusted. So in other words, they're saying it's basically flat. Month on month, it's flat. But what it doesn't break down, and what everyone needs to think about with mortgage approvals, is that this is the average transaction price of the transactions that they are providing mortgages for. But what the Bank of England data shows is that the value of mortgages being approved is going higher, which means that there are fewer people getting mortgages for lower value properties, more people getting mortgages for bigger value properties. So there are various ways of interpreting this, but not going to go into that now. This is just a quick 5-fact Friday. But that's fact number 2. Nationwide Building Society, annual house price growth slips to 3.4% negative year on year. And they're basically flat, a couple hundred quid difference month on month. Negative if it's seasonally adjusted, not if it's not, if that makes sense. Number 3, and this is a fact courtesy of, this is an unreported stat. So I haven't seen anything in the media talking about Q2 mortgage approval figures. Stig got there first. Alex got there first, and this graph is hot off the press this morning, and I've linked to the tweet where you can see it below, so you can have a look at it for yourself. But what's really, really important about this tweet, this graph, okay? So this is not mortgage applications, which is a different number from mortgage approval, because Nationwide says mortgage applications are actually quite good, but approvals are lower, which suggests fewer people are being offered a mortgage when they apply. So that's a bit crunchy in nature, credit crunchy, a contraction of actual lending happening, not because applications aren't up, but because approvals aren't up. Now, the key point here, and let me just zoom in on this for you, very important stuff. So the key point here is that in the 5 years leading up to the pandemic, every Q2 figure, and Q2 is the highest figure of the quarter. So you can see it's Q2 and then down, 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 Q2, down, 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 Q2, down, 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 Q2, down. Okay, you'll see that they're all around about 73, 74,000. So the average for the 5 years between 2015 and 2019 is 72,000 mortgage approvals in a quarter. Okay, 72,000 mortgage approvals in a quarter. Then we got the COVID craziness. And then in 2022, last year, we were out of COVID. And yet again, it's back to the long-running Q2 average of 72,000. They're about 71,000 it was. So when you compare 2023's Q2 figure with all the last 6 years that weren't part of the pandemic, it's gone from 72,000 down to 51,000. That is a 29% drop in mortgage approvals. And this is relevant to housing because mortgage approval numbers is one of the 3 most reliable leading indicators of what's happening to house prices. Okay, that's just, you can go back and look at the stats. It's a very, very strong correlation between mortgage approvals falling and prices falling. It's a leading indicator. So we see mortgage approvals falling before we then see prices falling after them. Okay, that's why I thought that's relevant. So thank you very much, Alex, for that really cool, as usual, graph. And if you do go look at this, make sure you read his commentary to make sure you understand it. Okay. Right. Fact number 4 is a story from Schroders Investment Bank. UK should brace for 6.5% interest rates. Here's why we've raised our forecast. So they've raised it significantly. In fact, they've raised it for 1.5% higher than their previous forecast. And that article explains why. Now, I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but Schroders is a highly respected investment bank, and they are expecting 6.5% interest rates. Go and read the article to decide for yourself if you agree with their reasons. But most economists in the last year and commentators have actually underestimated how high interest rates would go. So it's interesting to see one coming out and going, the market's pricing in at 6.25%. We think it could be 6.5%. So they're actually saying that they're expecting interest rates to be higher than the consensus of economists. So that's fact number 4. Schroders Investment Bank is forecasting 6.5% interest rates to peak there. And they're expecting that. And they then say, and we forecast a recession to follow between Q4 of this year and Q2 of next year. So this time next year. So for about 3 quarters, they're forecasting recession. All right. Which is unusually negative in the economist and analyst community. So that's number 4. And number 5 is, I just think this is a remarkable story. It's a story in the Telegraph. And the story says, struggling mortgage borrowers should sell now before house prices fall, lenders say. Now, I agree with that. I think anyone who thinks house prices are falling would agree with that. But to actually see the boss of a mortgage lender, so Mark Bogard, chief executive of the Family Building Society, said voluntarily selling homes instead could be the best option for some indebted borrowers. He said, by hanging on, it'll only get worse. Sometimes you just have to stop. And lower down at the bottom of this story, there is a very, very poignant quote from London broker Martin Stewart, who says, he's increasingly hearing reports from agents of people rushing for their lifeboats in the hope of selling their properties before anyone else. And he said, if you are trying to jump on a bandwagon, it means you've already missed it. If there are to be a glut of properties on the market, they are unlikely to be met with a glut of buyers. So guys, I'm going to surprise you all with a 4. So those are the 5 facts, okay? We are yet to have the Land Registry's May average house prices. But to prove to you that I am utterly convinced that the Land Registry figures are reflecting a period 9 months earlier, May's figures are going to reflect, and they're reported in June, they're going to reflect September 2023, so which was mostly before the mini budget happened, which has the autumn increase. So I'm expecting a small month-on-month increase in house prices to be shown from the Land Registry. And this is based on a bit of a tip-off that Housing Stig has given me, because he's been having a sneaky peek early at the data, which the government does actually publish early. They just don't publish it as house price index. They publish it just as completed prices. And he's gone in, there's no index reporting. He's just gone in and downloaded the numbers and just like Stig does, just munches the numbers. He's gone and go, yeah. And we had a discussion about it. And I really want everyone to understand, we don't know for at least 9 months after the event what prices are being agreed at the coalface today. All right. So guys, I hope that's helpful. Have a great weekend. Remember, if you're watching this on TikTok or Instagram, go to mhwc.co.uk/blog to see the links to everything I've just talked about. For everyone else, it's been on screen for you and it's the links below. Have a fantastic weekend. See you soon. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.